how did you get started in politics?
It's a long story. Something that happened to me when I was 13 years old. I was young, and we lived in the county, and we were playing what we call Foursquare. Take some sand, draw in the street, and then buy some basketball. And I got picked up one night and accused of throwing a brick through a gentleman's window, and the gentleman put a gun to my head in the back of a police car.
Wow. And did you grow up here in Macon?
I did. For the most part, the first couple of years when I was in the first through second grade, I lived in Elberton, Georgia. My daddy was a football coach up at Blackwell Memorial High School in Elberton.
Okay.
Well, the plan in the race is to do what I've always done, and that is to represent the people that have elected me for the last 45 years. One of the things, experience counts, and right now we're in a pandemic. We've got a suspended session. We're scheduled to go back around June the 11th. And we're looking at probably about a $3.5 billion, close to $4 billion cut within the budget. We did 6% in the supplemental, and we're looking at doing another 8% in the big budget. So a lot of things are going to happen. There's going to be a lot of discussion as to who gets what and how they're going to get it.
Yeah, sir. That's a perfect segue to my next question. With these extremely big, budget cuts coming in because of the coronavirus pandemic, what's kind of going to be like, your thinking in making sure that the right agencies, that especially the ones that we use here in Central Georgia, get the funding so we can keep on moving forward?
Well, one of the things that we did in supplemental, we did $19 million that would go into 6 months dealing with infant mortality. And that was one of the speaker's biggest things. That was $19 million. And that $19 million was just for only 6 months. So now we're getting ready to go into the big budget. How do you make that work going through the rest of the year? And there's going to be questions about health care, what we do about health care. Rural hospitals in Georgia are about to close. How do you keep them open? How do you keep a rural hospital open where you can deal with the pandemic in rural communities? Tested, mothers who are having babies. So there's going to be a lot of questions dealing with health care and Medicaid that don't come up in the budget process. Well, many of the rural hospitals are what we call 25-bed access hospitals, and they don't have the money. Most of their patients are Medicaid, Medicare, or no pay at all. And of course, Georgia never did go into the expanded Medicaid, which would have brought millions of dollars into the state. So now we are grappling with state budget, dealing with trying to keep these rural hospitals open. In the supplemental budget, we put about $7 million in just to try to keep them from going under. We still have some that are questionable because they can't meet payments on their bills and those kind of things. So what we have to do is make a concerted effort as to what we are going to do and how we're going to fund them and how to try to keep them open so that they can serve rural Georgia.
Definitely. And, just segueing, Ahmaud Arbery, that's been a story that a lot of people have been talking about. So what is your stance when it comes down to the hate crime laws or the lack thereof here in the state of Georgia?
Well, we need to pass the hate crimes bill, which is sitting in the Senate. I think the speaker made an eloquent statement that time is out for posturing, that we need to go ahead and pass the bill. It's quite obvious that we never would have known about this injustice had not that video. These people, this thing happened in February, and they were not in jail. They hadn't been charged with anything, and all of a sudden, the video appears, and now folks are trying to say, stand your ground, that he went into a house that was under construction. And a lot of folks who pass in neighborhoods who might live close to that neighborhood will go in and look at what people are doing and how they're constructing the house, and those kind of things. If you look at the news media, the accounts of it, that nothing was ever stolen. So he didn't steal a plank or anything, but he lost his life. And the video shows it, him running and folks shooting him with a shotgun. Well, I went to college, played football, and I came back home as a teacher and a coach. And I got involved in politics. I ran for office when the lines were redrawn under reapportionment, and that was in 1974. And I was elected as one of the youngest at age 24.
Oh, wow. That's remarkable. Where'd you go to college at, sir?
I went to Tuskegee University, Tuskegee, Alabama.
And then for my last question, I always like to open up the floor. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that you would like the people to know?
Well, being part of this community all these years, I've been involved in most of the political decisions since 1975, dealing with the government in Macon. One of the biggest concerns right now, people are talking about no taxes, those kind of things. Consolidated government, it takes money. It doesn't run off of water. We're going to have to raise the taxes, which is under the old laws, or we're going to have to raise the millage rate. You cannot pay for policemen coming on. You cannot pay for a person to handle our business license fees unless you have money to pay them. And an RFP was put out, and nobody accepted because the pay scale is not up to par.
Mm-hmm. So you're just saying, especially dealing with the shortfall where we have with the sheriff's office, it's either going to have to be a higher millage rate or accepting the OLAs.
But there's no question about it. You got to realize that we took $40 million out of the revenue stream in 2 years. And when you do that, you set the county upside down when it should have been done incrementally.